commemorating the end of World War I, a war that changed the world forever. More than 16 million people lost their lives in this conflict. Entire generations were wiped out. World War I was unlike any war before it. On June 28, 1914, Ferdinand and his wife Sophie were visiting Sarajevo, the capital of Bosnia. As their car drove through the streets, a Serbian nationalist named Gavrilo Princip emerged from the crowd and fired 3 shots. Meanwhile, the Russians mobilized their forces and began their invasion of East Prussia. The French and British were able to mount a defense, and after 4 years of fighting, neither side had gained a decisive victory. Austria-Hungary was dissolved, and the Ottoman Empire was no more. The war had changed the world. The global conflict had resulted in the deaths of more than 16 million people. But perhaps we can take solace in the fact that the war to end all wars did change the world for the better. I would like to end by saying that the war to end all wars did change the world for the better. Thank you. We live in a world today because of the sacrifices made by those who fought and died in World War I. We live in a world today because of the sacrifices made by those who fought and died in World War I. Entire generations of Europeans had been wiped out. The war had also led to the collapse of 4 empires, the Austro-Hungarian, Ottoman, Russian, and German empires. In their place were new countries such as Czechoslovakia, Poland, and Yugoslavia. Ferdinand and Sophie were both hit and mortally wounded. Ferdinand died instantly while Sophie succumbed to her injuries a few hours later. With the end of World War I, the era of American isolationism came to an end. The U.S. now had a major role to play in the affairs of Europe and the world. It was a global war that engulfed every part of the world. It was a war of attrition where neither side could gain a decisive victory. With the support of Germany, Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia and began their invasion. Soon, the other European powers were drawn into the conflict. France and Britain came to the aid of Belgium, while Germany supported Austria unconditionally. As the war spread across the continent, it became clear that this was not just another European conflict. This was a global war that would involve every part of the world. It was a war of new technologies where poison gas, tanks, and airplanes were used for the first time. And it was a war that changed the world forever. This gave the Allies a much-needed boost, and they were able to push the Germans back. By 1918, the war was coming to an end. On November 11, 1918, at 11 a.m., the fighting ended. The guns fell silent along the Western Front. The soldiers on both sides emerged from their trenches and stared at each other in disbelief. The war was over. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, heir to the Austro-Hungarian Empire, was the spark that ignited the powder keg of Europe. Austria-Hungary was outraged, and they blamed Serbia for the assassination. The fighting in Europe was intense. The Germans made quick work of Belgium and France, and by September 1914, they had reached the English Channel. In 1917, the United States entered the war on the side of the Allies. The peace treaties were harsh. Germany was stripped of their colonies and forced to pay reparations. But perhaps the most important change was the emergence of the United States as a global power. In the years since the end of World War I, we have seen the horrors of war again and again. As we remember the fallen today, let us also remember the lessons of the past and work towards a world where such horrors are never repeated. As we remember the fallen today, let us also remember the lessons of the past and work towards a world where such horrors are never repeated.